Money does not rule the world openly. If it did, the weak would at least know who their master is. Instead, money rules from the shadows, quiet, patient, and invisible to those who still believe in fairness, morality, and hard work alone. Machiavelli understood this long before modern economics gave it charts and theories. He knew that power survives best when it is unseen, and money is power in its most refined disguise. Most people chase money like prey chasing water in a desert. They run faster, work harder, exhaust themselves, and still remain poor. Not because money is scarce, but because they do not understand its shadow. The money shadow is the invisible structure behind wealth: influence, leverage, fear, timing, perception, and control. Those who only see money as income will forever serve those who see it as strategy. The first law of the money shadow is this: money obeys power, not effort. Effort is for the many. Power is for the few. Machiavelli warned that a ruler who relies on virtue alone will fall, because the world is not virtuous. In the same way, a man who relies on labor alone will remain dependent. Effort keeps you alive. Power makes you untouchable. This is why the hardest workers are rarely the richest. The farmer bends his back. The laborer breaks his body. The clerk gives his time. Yet the wealth flows upward to those who decide, not those who do. The shadow is not injustice. It is structure. And structures do not apologize. The weak hate this truth. They call it cynical. They call it immoral. They call it cruel. But Machiavelli would smile at their outrage, because outrage is a luxury of those who do not rule. Reality does not bend to feelings. Money certainly does not. The second law of the money shadow is invisibility. True wealth never announces itself. Loud money attracts envy, regulation, taxation, and enemies. Silent money attracts opportunities. Machiavelli advised princes to appear virtuous while acting decisively in private. Money follows the same rule. Appear modest, act strategically. Those who flaunt wealth are rarely in control of it. They are performers, not owners. The true masters sit quietly behind systems, companies, contracts, assets, and networks. They let others take the blame, the attention, and the risk. The shadow protects them. The third law is dependency. Whoever controls money controls needs. Machiavelli understood that people are more loyal when dependent than when grateful. Gratitude fades. Dependency binds. This is why salaries are designed to be just enough to survive, but never enough to escape. It is not cruelty. It is efficiency. Debt is the modern chain. Not because borrowing is evil, but because borrowing without power turns the borrower into a servant. Interest is not just a financial cost. It is a psychological leash. The debtor thinks in short terms, fears risk, avoids rebellion, and obeys quietly. The money shadow thrives on this fear. The fourth law is timing. Money moves before events, not after them. By the time the masses react, the shadow has already shifted. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold who act when others hesitate. In finance, hesitation is fatal. Opportunity does not knock. It whispers once and disappears. This is why news never makes you rich. By the time something becomes public, the profit has already been harvested. The crowd is always late. The shadow is always early. To operate in the money shadow, one must learn anticipation, not reaction. The fifth law is perception. Value is not inherent, it is assigned. Gold is metal. Paper is paper. Digital numbers are nothing. Yet people kill, obey, and sacrifice for them. Machiavelli knew that symbols rule men more effectively than swords. Money is the most powerful symbol ever created. Those who control perception control price. Marketing, branding, narratives, and authority inflate value without changing substance. This is why the same product sells for 10 times more under a different name. The weak buy objects. The strong sell meaning. The sixth law is separation. The rulers of money separate themselves from consequence. Limited liability, intermediaries, layers of management. These are not accidents. They are shields. Machiavelli advised rulers to let others carry out unpopular acts. Money does the same. The system absorbs blame while the beneficiaries remain untouched. The poor face consequences directly. Miss one payment, lose everything. The powerful distribute risk until it becomes invisible. This is the shadow at work. The seventh law is silence. Those who talk too much about money usually do not have it. Real power does not explain itself. Machiavelli warned against revealing intentions. In finance, transparency is demanded from the weak and avoided by the strong. Silence allows flexibility. It allows denial. It allows retreat without loss of face. Once you declare your plans, you become predictable. And predictability is vulnerability. The eighth law is emotional control. The weak are ruled by hope and fear. Markets feed on both. Hope makes people buy too late. Fear makes them sell too early. The shadow profits from emotional cycles it did not create, but fully understands. Machiavelli believed that a ruler must learn how not to be good when circumstances require it. In money, this means resisting emotion. Discipline is not morality, it is survival. The ninth law is distance from morality. This does not mean becoming evil. It means understanding that money is immoral. It does not reward kindness or punish cruelty. It rewards positioning. Those who moralize money remain confused by it. Charity, ethics, and fairness exist, but they operate outside the core mechanics of wealth. Expecting money to behave morally is like expecting fire to be gentle. Fire warms and burns without conscience. The 10th law is replacement. In the money shadow, no one is indispensable. Loyalty is secondary to utility. Machiavelli advised princes to avoid empowering others too much. In finance, replaceability keeps control centralized. If you are easily replaced, you will be underpaid. If you control a bottleneck, you will be rewarded. Scarcity creates leverage. Leverage creates money. Now comes the truth that breaks the weak. Most people do not want power. They want comfort. Power demands responsibility, risk, isolation, and moral ambiguity. Comfort demands obedience. The system offers a deal: surrender ambition, and you will be allowed to survive peacefully. The weak accept this deal and then complain about inequality. Machiavelli would say they chose their position, not consciously but through fear. The money shadow does not care about your dreams. It only responds to strategy. It does not punish ignorance, it exploits it. And it will continue to do so as long as people prefer illusions over understanding. To step out of weakness is not to become cruel. It is to become awake. To see the shadow is to stop being afraid of it. You may never rule it fully, but once you understand it, it no longer rules you blindly. Machiavelli did not teach men how to be monsters. He taught them how the world actually works. The money shadow is simply his lesson updated for a modern age. And here is the final law: money flows toward those who do not need it to define themselves. Desperation repels wealth. Detachment attracts it. When you stop worshipping money, you begin to understand it. When you understand it, you stop being weak. This is the law of the money shadow. It is not kind, it is not fair, but it is real, and reality is the only teacher that never lies. But understanding the money shadow intellectually is not enough. Many read truths like these, nod in agreement, feel a brief sense of superiority, and then return to the same patterns that keep them weak. Machiavelli would call this the most dangerous illusion of all, believing that awareness alone is power. It is not. Awareness without action is merely refined helplessness. The money shadow has deeper layers, and these layers are where most people retreat, not because they cannot understand them, but because accepting them requires the death of comforting lies. The 11th law of the money shadow is ownership without appearance. The masses dream of ownership as visibility, titles, offices, recognition, names on doors. But true ownership prefers obscurity. Machiavelli understood that influence is strongest when it does not provoke resistance. The man who owns quietly controls loudly. This is why the richest individuals often do not look rich. Their power is embedded in shares, influence, access. They do not own objects, they own positions. Positions generate money automatically, without effort or noise. The weak trade time for money. The strong trade placement for flow. The 12th law is proximity to decision-making. Money gathers near choices, not near labor. Being close to the moment where decisions are made, pricing, hiring, firing, expansion, contraction, is more valuable than being excellent at execution. Machiavelli warned that those who serve power closely either rise with it or fall with it, but those far from it remain invisible forever. Most people are intentionally kept far from decisions. They are told to focus on their job, stay in their lane, trust the system. This is not advice, it is containment. Distance keeps obedience intact. Proximity creates danger for the system, not for you. The 13th law is controlled instability. Stability is preached to the weak. Instability is harvested by the strong. Machiavelli wrote that wise rulers know when to disturb order to secure their position. In money, volatility is not a threat, it is a weapon. Crashes, crises, inflation, recessions, these do not destroy wealth universally. They transfer it. Those who prepared benefit. Those who trusted stability lose everything. The money shadow does not fear chaos, it engineers it quietly, then buys what panic forces others to sell. The 14th law is narrative management. People do not rebel against systems they believe are temporary or necessary. Machiavelli emphasized controlling stories, not just armies. Money follows the same logic. Economic suffering is framed as normal, cyclical, or your fault. Wealth concentration is framed as merit. Those who control the narrative control patience, and patience is submission. The poor are told to wait. The rich act while others wait. By the time the truth becomes undeniable, positions are already locked. The 15th law is selective generosity. The money shadow gives just enough hope to prevent revolt. Occasional success stories are allowed, promoted endlessly, to convince millions that the system works. Machiavelli would recognize this immediately, reward a few publicly to pacify the many privately. These exceptions are not accidents. They are pressure valves. They keep ambition alive but controlled. They make failure feel personal instead of structural. If someone else made it, then your failure must be your fault. The system remains innocent. The 16th law is fragmentation. Unity threatens power. Machiavelli warned rulers to divide rivals so they never unite. In money, workers are divided by class, ideology, culture, gender, generation, and identity. As long as they argue horizontally, no one looks upward. The money shadow thrives on distraction. Rage is redirected away from structure and toward symbols. While people fight over scraps of moral superiority, wealth consolidates quietly above them. The 17th law is complexity as camouflage. Systems are made deliberately confusing. Taxes, finance, law, contracts, layers upon layers of language designed to exhaust the average mind. Machiavelli knew that confusion weakens opposition. People fear what they cannot understand. The weak say, "It's too complicated." The strong say, "Good." Complexity creates dependence on experts, and experts are easily bought. Simplicity empowers. Complexity enslaves politely. The 18th law is patience without empathy. The money shadow waits. It does not rush. It does not care about suffering timelines. Machiavelli advised rulers to think in generations, not moments. Money does the same. While people panic over months, the shadow plans in decades. This is why reform is slow and reversal is fast. Gains for the weak take years. Losses happen overnight. Time itself becomes a weapon. The 19th law is self-erasure. The more power money has, the less visible its holders become. They hide behind institutions, foundations, boards, algorithms, and market forces. Machiavelli taught that hatred must never attach directly to the ruler. Money follows this perfectly. When no one knows who to blame, no one can resist effectively. Anger dissolves into confusion. Resistance becomes symbolic. The shadow remains untouched. The 20th law is psychological domestication. From childhood, People are trained to associate safety with obedience and risk with danger. Machiavelli understood that fear is a more reliable control than love. Money reinforces this fear: daily bills, rent, debt, survival. People do not need to be chained if their minds are conditioned. They police themselves. They reject ideas that threaten stability. They mock ambition that smells like danger. The strongest prison is the one defended by its inmates. Now comes the second truth that breaks the weak: freedom is expensive. Not financially, psychologically. Freedom requires the willingness to be misunderstood, isolated, blamed, and morally uncomfortable. Most people do not fail because they lack intelligence. They fail because they crave approval. The money shadow feeds on this craving. It rewards conformity just enough to make rebellion look irrational. Machiavelli would say this is perfect governance. To step closer to power, one must accept loneliness, fewer allies, more suspicion, less praise. The weak confuse popularity with safety. The strong know that visibility attracts attack. This is why many who sense the truth retreat back into comfort. They call the shadow too dark, too harsh, too pessimistic. In reality, they are afraid of what they would have to give up to escape it. Machiavelli never promised happiness. He promised clarity, and clarity is dangerous to illusions. The money shadow is not defeated by anger, protest, or hope. It is neutralized by understanding, positioning, and restraint. You do not fight it head-on. You move around it. You learn its rules without worshipping them. You begin by reducing dependency, by thinking in leverage, not wages, by valuing silence over validation, by choosing long-term positioning over short-term relief. None of this is dramatic. That is why most people ignore it. The shadow does not fear rebellion. It fears independence. And here is the final fracture point. Once you see that money is not evil, not good, but structural, you stop hating the rich and start studying them. Hatred is emotional. Study is strategic. Machiavelli would approve of this shift immediately. The weak moralize. The strong analyze. The money shadow will continue to exist whether you like it or not. It will rule loudly over those who deny it and quietly alongside those who understand it. The choice is not between wealth and poverty. It is between blindness and sight. This is not a call to cruelty. It is a call to sobriety, to maturity, to seeing the world as it is, not as it comforts you to believe. Machiavelli's lesson remains unchanged. The world is not governed by virtue, but by perception, power, and timing. Money is simply the modern language of that truth. And once you understand the language, you stop being spoken to and start listening in silence, where real power has always lived.